is Ruckus. Thanks for joining. Please like, subscribe, and share. 10-8. Hello. I've got Frank Meiser with me tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about Kegan Kline. The more I looked into it, the more I try to put this live together, the more I see I may have to do a few on Kegan, however you want to pronounce it. But before I did that, I wanted to take this opportunity to let you guys know that I'm going on a trip with Steve from July 11th to 18th. We're going to Delphi, going to several locations in Indiana. Now, up until this point, I support myself with my own funds and stuff like that. But to go out, on the road and do on-location investigations and stuff like that, I'm using my personal money. So if anybody wants to help out, I have all the equipment, the drone, the assets, everything I need. But I'm just trying to offset some of the costs and expenses. And I'd appreciate that. I really would. Let me bring Frank in. That's enough collective begging. But if you can help, that would be awesome. Frank Meister.
So now we become beggars, huh?
Yeah, and choosers.
Right.
And choosers.
So what's going on, man?
Not much. Let's say hi to everybody real quick. We got Nana Nurse. Amy Lynn. Amy, you are a mod now, please, and thank you. Come highly recommended. Tammy M. Of course, we got Jinx. What the hell kind of picture is that, Jinx? Oh, it's an octopus. Tentacles. I get it. Rescue all the dogs. Vince. Miss Deb. We got Polygraph. WL22. Skittles. Hello, Skittles. Blue Lamp. Purdue IN. How are you, dear?
Hey, one of my favorite ladies.
Yeah, I'm
looking
forward to some biscuits and gravy from her and Jinx. I'm here to tell you. It's going to be the highlight of the trip. Lisa, how are you? TTM fangirl. Jordan, my favorite PI. Any of you guys need any PI work, especially in Indiana? Get with Jordan. I have his information in my community page. If not, message me and I will put you in touch with him. Doc Fire, what's going on? Miss Grace, K. McBee, hello. Miss Thang, Lee Trainer. Let's see what we got here. Everybody's saying hello. Ivy, Lisa Seraph. We got Noe in the house. Yes, absolutely. I'll get in touch with you, Noe, while I'm there. James, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. True Crime Housewife. Boston Christian. Got JJ. We have a super chat from TT Fangirl. Thank you very much. $9.99. 9 wooden nickels for the trip. You're awesome. That's perfect. I really appreciate it. All right, let me scroll back here, make sure I didn't miss anybody. Mustang 1965, what's going on? Victor Hot, what's shaking, Victor? Rhonda, Cryptex in the house. Kimosabi, what's shaking? All right, we're going to talk a little bit about Kegan Klein and why we're talking about him when we're talking about Delphi. Hi, Alice. How are you, dear? Kegan Kline plays a role in this, primarily because of the Anthony Shots account. But that by no means holds him to just that. He can be further involved in that. We'll find out. Michelle was shaken. Josh DePosh, new to both of you. Well, welcome aboard, Josh. Welcome aboard, my friend.
Coming in there.
Got Alice. All right. So, Kegan Klein, right? When law enforcement, Colette, how are you? When law enforcement got onto Kegan Klein, the way they got onto him wasn't because of the CSAM to start with. They had no idea who he was. When they found Libby's phone and they went through the phone and saw, if the mods, if you could please post Frank's channel and his Cash App throughout the live would be awesome. You guys are the bomb.com. Hi, Steffa. When they got a hold of her phone and they processed it forensically, they found this Anthony Shots account. Growing crazy, how are you? Happy Friday to you too. So this Anthony Shots account, it didn't take them long to figure out who made it. This guy, Kegan Klein. So they wanted to go talk to Kegan. I'll be there late on the 11th and leave late on the 18th. Because I'm going to be bringing a weapon, I didn't want to have to deal with flying in at any other airports. I know Indianapolis is cool with it. Hi, Diamond Eyes. So I'm just going to fly into Indianapolis, and Steve's going to pick me up there. I would much rather ride with him. I can imagine the car ride would be awesome with Steve, but I'm just worried about having to deal with the airport security and stuff like this. But I know Indy's pretty cool with it, so I'm just going to fly into there. If I could bring a shotgun with me, I would. But have to settle for my strap, you know. Polygraph was gifted a membership by Jinx. Miss Deb was gifted a membership by Jinx. Amy Lynn was gifted a membership by Jinx. Alice was gifted a membership by Jinx. See-Through was gifted a membership by Jinx. Thank you so much, Jinx. You're the bomb.com. She does that a lot. Yeah, Lisa, I'm afraid I'd be stopping at every Waffle House between Georgia and Indianapolis. But that's okay. That's okay. Our next trip, this one was kind of thrown together because of my surgery and my shoulders and stuff like that. So we'll plan the next one out. We plan to collaborate a lot coming up. So we'll be traveling around all over the place. Oh, there we go.
You to borrow.
She has a shotgun.
Oh, okay.
That's what she's getting at.
Oh,
that's funny.
All I need is my 40. That's all I need.
Yeah, me too. If somebody's got a shotgun I want, I'm pretty sure I could shoot him and take it. But you like to have your own shit. I've got a little small Mossberg 410, the little one-handed one.
Oh yeah.
Danger Dave, what's up?
It still knock you backwards though.
Yeah, but
one hand.
Well, with my shoulders right now, I doubt I'd do it. But I've shot it, and you can do it with one hand. It's not great, but in other words, you could have your pistol in one hand, that in the other hand, and get at least a couple good shots off.
If you miss, you don't have no business having a damn gun.
Yeah, well, it depends how many people you're going up against. And you got to remember, everybody gets first before anybody gets second. So if there's three of them, you got to shoot all three one time first. Okay, so they get this phone. They find out who Anthony Shots is. Anthony Shots is Kegan Klein. So I'm sure that they wanted to interview him, but they found out by the time they got all that information and were able to track it down that he was out of state. Copper Horse, hello. Stories from the Stone. That's a great name. Welcome aboard. So on February, the murders happened on February 13th. On February 25th, they executed a search warrant on the Klein residence in Peru, Indiana. And during that search warrant, they confiscated, let me see, I've got some stuff here.
Story from the Stone. He goes around to the cemeteries and takes photos of famous people and things like that. He posts on Facebook and stuff like that.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Well, let's just start out with this, and let me make sure that the interview. Yep, it's just making sure your mic's on, Frank. and it is. You're
Yeah.
still on there. And I'm going to be reading the chat, but I'm not going to be posting it in. So I'll catch any good questions and I'll put them over to the side. Hey, Don Spain, how are you? Okay, so on the 13th, law enforcement, they want to know what his alibi was, right? So he says that, he's hanging out with his dad and they watch the wrestling pay-per-view and all that stuff. Ray Jones, how are you? But come to find out, that pay-per-view was not on the 13th. It was on the 12th.
Mm.
So, that's a lie. And his alibi is his dad. And his dad said, yeah, we watched a pay-per-view wrestling match. Now, I'm quite sure that they said, oh, well, that was a long time ago. Diamond Eyes, how are you? That was a long time ago. We don't remember. But this here is something else that we call a clue. Okay, Kegan updated his Facebook to say February 12th, 2017, he started a new job at California Hotel and Casino, as a games dealer. Well, he didn't make that update until March 11th, 2020. So that's a lie. That's just a crock of shit, like everything else. Hi, Olivia. Like everything else. Beth Gonzalez, how are you? So he's trying to.
Oh, you're funny, Steffa. She
I
said it was
didn't.
KK at your house watching wrestling.
Wrestling. Oh, okay. Yeah, if you catch something funny like that, let me know. Or something good because I can star it over and we can go through and answer them afterwards.
All right,
Okay,
sorry
so
about
they
that.
really don't have an alibi for that day. They are each other's alibi. Okay, we know Tony's off on Monday, so him hanging out with his son is not totally out of the question. Hey, Yo-Yo. So, you can understand that. Mandy Rose, how are you? Okay, so they take some devices from his house. Okay, they confiscated 6 devices and a PC during the search. They got an iPhone 3, iPhone 4, iPod Touch, a Galaxy S4, a Galaxy S5, a Nextbook tablet, and a Hewlett Packard PC. Well, all of these devices, hey, Chaotic Beauty, all these devices had both Keegan and Tony's email, Skype, and several social media accounts, except for the Apple iPhone 5S, which was Keegan's personal phone. Now, they did not confiscate that on the 25th. He turned that in a few days later. He's saying that, quote unquote, they missed it. It was sitting on the microwave. We all know that's a crock of shit.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, give me a fucking break, man. I might be dumb, but I'm not stupid.
right, exactly.
But before he turned that over to them, he deleted it. He deleted a lot of accounts. He took some apps off, deleted everything, put them back on, deleted everything again, took the app off, put it back on. Thinking that he can get by law enforcement, by scrubbing his phone like that. Well,
Right.
I'm here to tell you his phone wasn't in that house. It definitely wasn't in the fucking microwave. Somebody else had it. Now that's his private phone now. That's the one that's named Keegan's phone. Now all of these devices, every single one of them had CSAM on it. Several of them, I think 3, maybe even 4, had been logged on and off at the same time as other devices that were in the residence. They can track them around, I think, Gatlinburg, Tennessee, where these chats originated from. That doesn't mean that was from that. Somebody they were chatting with was in other areas, and photos that were getting sent, the metadata on it. There was like 8 or 9 different cities that were involved with the metadata. Okay, so we know he's lying about his alibi, right? And we know they got all these devices that has all this CSAM on it. Now, this is from his transcripts, okay? I don't have to read everything out loud. We can just go over it. But he's trying to say that he has no idea that all of this stuff was on there. Law enforcement's telling him, listen, we're going off of these devices. We're looking in your phones. And Keegan's like, you're talking to someone that has no reason to lie to you. How do you like that, Frank?
Right.
Coming from Kegan, you know, that's like me needing a hairbrush. It's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. So, yeah, Lisa says the phone was behind a roast beef. JDR, how are you? CCD, what's shaking, brother? I talked to Jeremy today. Well, I texted with him. He's doing well. He'll be back with us soon, man. And he says hello to everybody. Thomas Frost, what's going on? All right, so they're trying to explain to him during this investigation that, listen, we've already looked at everything and we know what you have on there. We know more than one person is using it. And you're lying. Hey, Lake Michigan, how are you? And you're lying. That's his go-to statement when the children question is Anthony Shots count. Yeah, exactly. And he gets stupid too. Oh, I don't know. That was a while ago. I forget. And all this, that. And that's crocker shit.
Well, you know what really caught really when it comes to him being in Vegas or allegedly being in Vegas is that he was searching the DNA in the marathon station, but he never really explained why he did or denied it.
Yeah. Now, the marathon station was before the murders. While he was in Vegas, he looked up how long DNA lasts on a body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he was looking for pictures of the Sandy Hook victims, which is disgusting. Shit like that. But he was also looking up CSAM stuff about young girls and the such. Now, he's saying that he was in Vegas. He had moved back to Vegas, because him and his dad, a week after the murders, they took off and went to Vegas. I still not have been able to find out if they flew or drove to Vegas.
Right.
Yeah, he may have TTM. He may have been doing that, but he had a lot of them.
It is mind-boggling that he denies all this in his phones and going back to the phone that was on the microwave. I mean, to me, it
What up,
sounds
OG?
like that
Go ahead. I'm
Tony
sorry.
had the phone during the search, and they took everything that belonged to Keegan and didn't take anything of Tony's. So
Mm-hmm.
that's telling me that Tony had the phone, and when they got done with the search and left and everything, he put it on top of the microwave for when Keegan got home.
Right. I don't think it was in the house
I don't
at
think
all.
so either.
Yeah. So that day when they did the search of the house, they took him in for a polygraph. And he's saying basically, they were trying to blame these murders on me, saying that, two girls were killed and that I did it, me and my dad and stuff like that. So he's planting this stuff. They didn't come out and ask him like that. He's talking because they're telling, listen, you already lied. You lied 3 years ago because this transcript's from 2020 when they arrested him. So we already know
Mm-hmm.
that you lied 3 years ago. So, but he starts he starts asking for an attorney not long after that. So let's look at he's got all these devices that have CSAM on them. Okay, so according to him, I didn't know any of these girls with this age. Ruckus, I thought I explained this already. I sent you a screenshot. Oh, I apologize, Jordan. I don't know what you're talking about, though. You can text me if you want and let me know. He sold loaded devices and wanted to score big in Vegas with a snuff. So it could be really. If it's a snuff, man, that's big, big, big.
Yeah, but then you got to remember what he was saying, that he was trying to either sell or buy dope on Craigslist. Now, who does that?
Nobody. But that's not hard for them to check.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So they already know all that. All of this stuff, law enforcement already has a grip on this shit. But what these three sheets here is him saying, well, yeah, no, those are mine. Those are my phones. Well, so you're the one that's talking to these underage girls and downloading CSAM. Well, no, I'm not doing that. Well, who's doing that? I don't know. But, I was living with Dirk. Did Dirk have your passwords and all that? Well, he could have. I don't remember. He has this selective memory,
Memory.
when it comes to
Yep.
this shit. And, and
Exactly.
and then when they pin him down, that look, all the information is coming out of your phones, no matter where you're at, whether you're in Vegas, whether you're in Peru, no matter where you're at, no matter what location you're at, we can tell that this shit's coming from your device and which IP address it's coming from. So he's saying that, well, no. So he's trying to protect people. He's saying, no, I'm the only one that uses them. Oh, so you logged on to two devices at the same exact time onto the same exact Anthony Shot Snapchat account, right? Well, yeah, sometimes I do that. Well, who was home with you during that? My dad. You know, it, he's trying to walk the line. He doesn't want to snitch on anybody for whatever reason. So if in all of these, he's adamant that it's not him. It's not him. I am not doing this stuff. I don't know who's doing it, but yet he's pleading guilty to this stuff. What do you think of that,
You
Frank?
see, that's the weirdest thing to me because what he had the sentencing hearing last month or 3 weeks ago, whenever it was. He's claiming, well, I don't know that username or email address. I don't know. I've never seen that photo. And then he was thinking about changing his plea again. And then all of a sudden, we get the notification he's going to stick with his guilty plea. So why are you going to stick with the guilty plea now after you were thinking about changing it,
Hmm.
claiming this and claiming that? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
My
absolutely.
opinion is, I think he didn't. Honestly, if his dad is technically 100% involved in this with the CSAM, I think he didn't want to have to face his dad in court and testify against him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it looks like his dad was willing to testify against him. You know.
And
Hey,
the
Joe.
bad thing about it is we all can speculate as much as we can. We're pretty confident that TK was doing some dirty shit like Keegan was, right? But the problem is, if he was doing it on Keegan's phone, they cannot prove it was Tony on Keegan's phone because it was Keegan's device. That's the whole problem with the holdup with Tony Klein, in my opinion. They can't prove it was him using the phone.
Right. All right, Jordan. I see what you're talking about now, and thank you for sending that. I didn't know if you wanted me to talk about that. To be honest with you, I'm going to do a follow up on this. I'm sure because when I was setting this up, it's like, man, this is Frank. I hope you're ready for a marathon, 2, 3 sessions with this. Um,
I ain't got no problem with it.
yeah, maybe we could do one over on your channel, one of the follow
Yeah,
ups.
we could throw a script together and do one on my lot. Just alternate back and forth, whatever we need to do to get this out there.
Yep. What's up, Legion? Because what Jordan just sent me, and I agree 100% with him, um, that when they were able to get into his accounts and stuff like that, there's no doubt, and I have a document that shows that Keegan and Rick Allen both used an account, okay, the Emily Ann username.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why it was missing, and that's what Jordan is saying, that Rick had the phone and he had to erase all the shit on it, and then gave it back to Kegan. So Kegan's not the one that cleared the phone out. Richard Allen was. Now there is a definite connection to that account. So if that's true, well then they know each other, don't they? They know who each other is. And
Right.
I'll send it to you tonight. I just didn't want to, because Jordan's a PI. He works behind the scenes and stuff. So I just wasn't sure exactly what he wanted me to put out. I get information just like you, and if
Yeah,
people don't
I
want me
mean,
to share it, I don't.
It sounds like a good theory and good scenario, but the problem with that is it has to be proven that Richard Allen had the phone.
Well, correct, correct. Now I'm not talking about that makes sense,
Hmm.
but I do have the proof that they both used that same account.
Oh yeah, who Richard Allen and Keegan or Tony
Yeah,
and Keegan?
Richard Allen and Keegan. That they
Oh
the
really?
Emily Ann account. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Oh hell,
Actually, you know what?
send it to my
If you give me a
send it
second,
to yeah send it to my email.
no, I'll put it up on the screen here. I just didn't want to. I hadn't had a chance to go over it with Jordan, and I don't like doing that to
Right.
people.
Well, I don't blame you, man.
There's things you just don't do.
And I had a 2 hour discussion with somebody from 2:30 in the morning until 4:30 in the morning the night before last, and the problem was connecting the Kleins with Richard Allen. MySpace, oh my. Emily Ann Allen? Whoa.
Yeah, and look at the password. Heart
Where
16
where's that at?
down at the bottom in the green.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Now see, this was
But there
cracked. Somebody cracked into this.
MySpace ain't been around for a while either.
Hot minute. Hot minute. Yeah. So if you
Bell
if
South. Where is
yeah, I'll
Bell?
set
I've
I'll
never
send
heard
that
of
to
Bell
you,
South.
and we'll go. Oh yeah, that was a big company.
Well, I
When
remember like Indiana Bell and South Bell. When I lived in Arkansas, that's what it was South Bell
mm,
back in the 90s.
yeah, that's
So,
let me see, get rid of that one. All right, now here's another couple pages of him trying to say that yeah, that's my accounts, that's my phone, but I didn't do that. I didn't do that at all. You know. So I just got a $25 cash app. Thank you very much. I
so did
don't,
I, guys. Thank you very much.
and I send thank yous through the cash app because I don't want to dox anybody. Because if you say who
Or
sent it to you, it doesn't use your screen name; it uses your real name.
right.
So I don't like doxing anybody. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, Thomas. You're talking about that unspent round, the forensic ballistics on the ejection. Tony, leave no DNA at the crime scene if they were part of the murders. Yeah, we're going over. Hey, Star Girl, we're going over everything. I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm just saying what makes sense. I don't know what happened at that crime scene. I don't know if they have DNA. And if they do, whether or not it's human DNA, I don't know. I don't know any of that stuff. Hey, Catsy Klein. But these are another 2 pages of him saying that, well, Dirk, I live with Dirk. He could use my phone. We did so many drugs. I don't know what he did when I was high on drugs.
And see, that's the thing about Dirk Hayes. You go to his Facebook page and check out his photos. He's got Sin City photography, and if you want, I mean, it's basically X-rated photos. And I'm like, what else is this guy into? You
Hmm.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So let's get through these little slides and then you and I will talk. Now, here's another thing the vehicles used, right? Now, I haven't heard a lot of people talking about his Grand Am. And that's actually a picture of his Grand Am. Um, and in his transcript, he's like, yeah, I got an old Grand Am, a little one. Yeah, so that's a picture of the Grand Am, of his actual car. So we know that's for real. He does have a Grand Am. Whether it was used for anything, I don't know. I don't know. But after they did that interview with him, these transcripts, um, they arrested him, right? They took him into custody. RA and KK have Emily Ann account connections. Yes. Yes, they do. Now, could it be coincidence? Sure. Sure. But I doubt it. So now we don't know that RA Richard Allen used the Anthony Shots account. No, they both used the Emily Ann account, and they both used that password, that hot 16 or heart 16. So yes, thank you, Amy. All right, so they get him in custody, right? And they're not getting much out of him. Nothing's really moving along, right? Then all of a sudden, boom, they take him out of custody and they turn him over to ISP. ISP signs him out. Little field trip. And the search of the Wabash River began on August 19th, 2022. Well, guess what day Kegan was signed out?
Same day.
August 19, 2022. And the
Because
search... Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Sorry.
No, that's
I've
okay. Go
got
ahead.
a Sleuth was kind enough to send me some documents that he had showing that it was confidential information that was sealed for Keegan Klein on the 19th of August of that for that. I've got those too. So
yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I certainly didn't create that document, and I got that from a private investigator who's pretty confident. But here's the thing that I haven't heard a lot about, okay? The Wabash River search, right, began on August 19th and ended on September 22nd. Now, we don't know what they found there, if they found anything. You can see the little flags in the water. Now, that may indicate a search grid, which since they're in line, they probably are, or they could be where they found evidence. But I'm going to say they're search grid flags. But what a lot of people don't know about is that on August 25th, for a whole day, law enforcement went to a bridge off of 18 leading out of Delphi that goes across the Tiffany River, I think it is. And they searched the water there for a whole day, in and out. Now, that's the day before they took Kegan back and put him into Miami County custody back at the jail. So what does this search? What did they find in this search? You know, it happened. It definitely happened. Have you heard of this search at all, Frank?
no, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
So see, and this goes way back. This is information that was available in 2020 that people just kind of skipped over. And you have to really look at shit. You know, your eyes get tired. You know this.
Oh yeah.
Your eyes get tired and you miss shit. Dude, sometimes I'll be up for, all night for a weekend, you know, catch a little sleep here and there when I'm exhausted, you know. Yeah, Inner Light, hello, welcome. And yes, there are a lot of weirdos and groomers on MySpace. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. This internet and social media and all that has made a playground. I don't know if you guys watched the video I put on my community page. I love Grady Judd. They just did a big sting and got over 1,000 charges of child porn. Some of them weeks old. Weeks, folks. Weeks old, bound and tied, and being sexually assaulted. There's not a hole deep enough under the fucking jail for those people. There really isn't. There isn't at all. Yeah, Mrs. MySpace. Yeah, you need your...
MySpace. I think MySpace now is like basically music now.
Yeah, well, that's all it was back then to me. You know? K? Could be. Could be. We don't know all the particulars, and I am just following evidence here. And I'm creating my own theory. Now, if I've got to stretch it too far, if I have to say, well, this has to happen and that has to happen to make this happen, I try to avoid that because that gets you nowhere. That'll get you in a rabbit hole quick. And people that do that, I'm not upset with them. I don't mind at all. It's easy to do, and it's hard to get out of. Once you get into it, it's like it keeps going and keeps going. But it's not hard to get caught in that trap. I try to avoid it, but sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you just can't. Ruckus, that's the only instance of that username in any data breach ties to a weird MySpace page that could very well be unrelated, but the occurrence of the Allen name being tied to. Well, the chances of it being related are higher than it being unrelated. All right, let's go to the next. Now, this is just kind of a. This is Libby's page, right? And this was right after the murders. And look who liked that picture. Anthony Shots. Anthony Shots. What kind of bullshit is that? What kind of scumbag is that? You follow me? What a piece of shit. So let's get back to our ugly mugs. There we go. There we go.
You're blinded me, dude.
Sorry,
as white
man.
as you are for living in Florida, you're a white man.
Dude, I'm Irish. I can't. I burn. I peel. I'm white. It's a vicious cycle, and it's never turns out good. How's that? Is that better? I just dimmed the lights down a little bit.
I was just messing with you.
Yeah,
What's up, homegirl nomad?
but it was a good catch by Jordan, and this is why Jordan does what he does, because he catches shit like that, and that was from a data breach. Now, who the hell's thinking about looking in a data breach? Somebody like Jordan. Somebody's got a head on his shoulders for this kind of stuff, you know. Yeah, that Grand Am find was fantastic. And none of this is coming from me. I've had several people that are helping me and guiding me to where to look for stuff, and then I find it by myself, or just flat out giving it to me. But I don't like to use it unless I'm sure that it's legit. Is that Ann the same as how Keegan Emily Ann is spelled, or is Keegan's Emily Ann with an E? Not sure if it matters too much. Of course it matters. Of course it matters. I'll check it out though. Hi, sweet Caroline. Okay, so here we go. We got this piece of shit, right? Let's see what Jordan. I sent it to ISP right after the press conference announcing Richard's arrest. I think it needs a search warrant. Gotcha. You're probably right. If it was a data breach, though, I don't know. I've never really messed with data breaches. I retired in 08. We were still chipping shit on rocks. Brenda Birkenbach. How are you, dear? Chelsea, what's going on? Yeah, Jordan finds all kinds of stuff. He's helped me with other things, too. I'm working on another case. Star Girl, what up? I'm working on another case that he's helped me with immensely. And if you guys do go, hey, Charlie, if you guys do go to my community page and watch that Grady Judd press conference, the guy who actually tied up the 2-3 week-old baby and sexually assaulted it is from Indiana. Just moved to Florida working for Disneyland. He said there was a bank robber, and they asked him, why are you robbing all these banks? He was notorious. He said, because that's where the money's at. And he said, people like this, why do they work at Disney? That's where the kids are at. They make a lot of arrests out of Disney in Florida. Grady Judge don't play, man. He don't play. He quit school when he found out they had recess. He don't play, man. I have a theory from the start. The two houses, neighbor of TK and KK, were sharing a Wi-Fi connection, one account, one bill. More than likely, that could happen. A lot of people do that. As a matter of fact, my Wi-Fi went out the other day because my neighbor didn't pay his bill. That irresponsible fuck. So, my Wi-Fi name is FBI surveillance van. So I don't think anybody gets on it in my neighborhood. I live, they're all 2.5 acre or bigger lots around here, so nobody's real close, anyways. How confident would you feel about this case as a police officer, a lawyer, or as the defense? The law enforcement's done their job already. It's turned over. And I've mentioned this before, David. Unfortunately, right now, facts don't matter. They all have them. Um, you know, attorneys, judges, prosecutors, they don't know how to investigate a case. They know how to prosecute. They know how to do sleight of hand, smoke and mirrors, stuff like that. It's how they present the case.
Somebody said they wanted to hear me say Wabash or Wabash. Ruckus says Wabash. I say Wabash.
Wabash. Yeah. Is it Wabash? I mean, you live there.
It's Wabash.
Oh, okay. I apologize. Please accept this wooden nickel as a token of my apology. All right, Frank. What do you have to say? I know you've had some opinions on Mr. Klein, and we're just talking about Keegan today. If it spills over a little bit into other people like Richard Allen or his dad or stuff like that, that's fine. But I'm going to do separate lives on those folks.
I'm thinking about putting $20 on Keegan's account because I got a message today. Said Kegan Klein would like to text you from Miami County Jail. I haven't talked to him since Saturday or Sunday. It was his birthday, and he told me that one creator blocked him, changed her phone number and all that stuff like that, so he has no contact with her anymore. So I want to find out why he decided to keep the guilty plea. I want to know why. I'm almost positive I know why, because he can't prove anything he's saying, such as like, I don't recognize that username or that email. I've never seen that photo before, and they can't prove that he did or he didn't. So, and they basically told him that. His attorneys told him, look, you got to prove that's not you. And they can't prove it, so he's like, fuck. I might as well just plead out to the 25 charges.
Hi, Deb. All right, so I was surprised, that he wasn't looking for a plea deal. Now, I'm not sure, because we all know that we know when Keegan's lying because his lips are moving. But he's saying that he didn't know anything about a 10-year deal, that his attorney never told him about a 10-year deal, plea deal. We don't know if that's true or not.
I don't think it is, because the prosecutor made it very clear from the get-go they are not going to do a deal with him. I think they want to make an example of him because of all the crap that's going on in Indiana when it comes to the CSAM and the sexual predators and things like that. They're going to make an example of him.
Okay. So now, my opinion has always been that he's tied to Delphi, period.
Well, yeah, there's no other way around it. I mean, on the 13th, Kelsey went through I don't know if she actually went through Libby's phone or if she used an iPad or what, but went into all the different accounts, and she even questions Anthony Shots, hey, have you seen Libby? So that told me right there, when that happened, LE was on to Anthony Shots at the beginning, but they didn't know who it was.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right, Dogfire, that Emily Ann 45 account. So there's somebody else named Emily Ann Allen that owned that account that you verified that through? See, that's big too.
Well, I do know that Tony Klein had a Yubo account. It said Emily Ann 45. Tony Klein did.
I mean, is that a common name in the Midwest? I don't know. I've never heard it before.
And I found 2 accounts on Poshmark with Tony and Keegan on it.
I don't exactly know what Poshmark is, but I read a little bit about it, and I don't know why they had accounts on there. That'd be like me having OnlyFans.
Well, I mean, I even looked at who they were following, and it was all women.
Okay, Kennedy says, TMS reported that they confirmed that TK's mother's fire pit was also searched the same day as the Wabash River search took place. TK has denied this happened to Rick Snay. KK tip. I've heard of them that they had searched the fire pit, but I never really followed up. Did that happen, Frank?
I honestly, I heard the same thing. See, these are the kind of things that we can't verify because they're being so tight-lipped on everything.
Well, I'm just trying to put out, like I said, I'm not trying to steer anybody in any direction or anything like that. I'm just trying to put out some information. If he's not tied to this case, I'll be surprised, man.
Everybody's going to shit their drawers if he's not.
Yeah. But the thing, and here's how this works as well. It sounds good on paper, right? To say, well, they're waiting for him to get sentenced on his CSAM, and then they're going to charge him with Delphi. I've said that myself, only because all the Delphi detectives were there at his sentencing hearing. I mean,
Yep.
I can't think of another reason why they would be there. Now, here's the thing. They could arrest him on Delphi right now and put a hold on him. That's the way it works. If you're in one
72-hour
county,
hold.
no, a permanent hold. They could have arrested.
Really?
Yeah, they could have arrested him last year and put a hold on him, which means that when he's done with the Miami County case, before he goes to prison, he'll go to Carroll County Jail, and they'll have the trial for that. And even if he's found innocent on that, well, then he's going to prison on the Miami County case. So it could go either way, is my point. They could have been there to arrest him on the Delphi case, and a lot of this, and you and I have talked about this too. A lot of this is ITTT, if this then that, because it's not a coincidence, dude, that anytime Richard Allen drops something in my case, so does Keegan's people, and vice versa.
And like law enforcement says, there is no such thing as coincidences.
No, not like this. There's just too many of them.
Right.
Just too many of them.
Consecutively.
Yeah, and we have that whole Ron Logan thing about trying to get an alibi. For what? Why? He could have just said, "Oh, because everybody knew he was driving." I don't buy this whole thing. Oh, he was worried because he was driving.
You see, I don't buy none of that either because they knew he was driving no matter if he was on probation. They knew it, and they just didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
They knew it.
Yeah. Thomas is saying they've got something going on. Let me scroll back up here. For Lauren, coming up for Lauren.
Yeah, Lauren Spear in Bloomington, Indiana.
Uh-huh.
They're having some type of thing for her Saturday, tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I'm getting so far behind on the chat. It's horrible. What's up with you and Coach at the same time? Is Coach live right now, Coach Kev?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I didn't know that. I scheduled this last week, though. But, I should pay. I've got my grandson here, so I'm doing stuff with him. Not paying much attention, trying to get this put together. But if you take and put a charge on Kegan Klein right now, he's going to have a hold. So it doesn't matter. It has zero impact, right? Unless if Keegan want to take his to trial, he could take it to trial, and he's probably going to be just as bad off because the same judge is going to sentence him.
Well, it's just like I said. He did the smart thing by pleading guilty because if he went to trial and found guilty on all charges, I'm pretty sure that he would have got at least 75 years, at least. Because the prosecutor would have been pushing it and pushing it.
His attorney told him all this. They know how the judges work and how they operate and what the charges are going to be. But if you get arrested on another charge, like I said, they just put a hold on you. Now, if you look, Richard Allen had a hearing scheduled. Well, then, boom, out of the blue, Kegan Kline says, "Hey, I'm going to change my plea." Well, Richard Allen immediately postpones his hearing until after he hears what Kegan Kline has to say. If this, then that. There's just so much of this that happening right now that it can't be a coincidence. It can't be a coincidence at all. Um, so they're working together. The attorneys are, at the very least, the attorneys are. Kegan knows more than he's putting out. I guarantee you, between Carroll County Jail, Miami County Jail, Case, is it Case or Cass County?
Cass County.
Cass County. There's people sitting in those jails right now that know exactly what happened.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Kristen behind the crime door. She's in the chat.
Kristen, how are you? And you did not, I didn't take anything you said the wrong way last night, Kristen. That was a very good conversation. Great guest, great conversation. And no, I didn't take offense to anything. I don't mind if people don't agree with me at all. That's how you find shit out. Now, what do you think about him firing his attorney to do the same goddamn thing? He
And
could have
see,
just,
I tried to tell him last year when I reached out to him that this was what was going to happen. I told him.
yeah.
And what happens? The same thing happened as I told him what was going to happen. I mean, I still got every chirp from last year, and I can even show them to show you what we talked about. I said, man, Akey ain't doing that for you. I said, he's sitting right there with the prosecutor, probably smoking a joint, eating lunch, and scheming on you, dude. And look what happens.
Did Tony have a stepdaughter named Emily Ann?
No,
I
Tony
don't know.
had his nephew had a daughter that was named as Emily Ann.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, those accounts that were talking to each other. Okay.
A Gucci handbag.
I need to buy a 2-pay or a 3-pay or something, you know. But it could be a delay tactic. It very well could be. You can't take any of this stuff off the table. But I doubt it. I doubt it. Highly doubt it. There's a lot more for him to do in a prison. And I'm here to tell you the prison's crawling with pedophiles. He wouldn't stand out any more than the other one. Oh, he's going to be buying commissary for people. That's for sure. And doing shit he doesn't want to do. And I don't mean sexual stuff. They'll make them do, he'll be making everybody's bed and all that kind of shit.
He'd be tossing salad by the time he gets there. You know what tossing salad is.
I do.
But see, I know that Indiana here in the last, I don't know how many years, but they've made it to where certain prisons, they separate all sexual crime prisoners away from the general population where they're by themselves. Because you get them in the general population, look what happened to Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah. Well, a lot of inmates, they take themselves out of protective custody because they go crazy in there, But it is what it is. What up, Grizz?
Yoko, Yo. Oh, Frank.
I call her Yo-Yo.
Yo.
Yeah, instead of Yokio, Yo-Yo. Now, that other river search, that's interesting as hell.
Somebody was saying something about the gun they found. That was like in 2009, or well before that. They found it right by Tony's house. I think it was a 380.
On the bank of the river there?
Yeah. That was years ago.
Is Kegan saying that he has seizures?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Now, what do you think about that? Richard Allen, they let them quash the medical records for mental health.
I knew that me and Miss Def from True Crime Notebook, we basically been talking about this for a while. She knew exactly there was going to be medical records, but the problem is the HIPAA laws was going to prevent them from grabbing that.
Sure. Sure.
And that, and that's why I'm pretty sure that's why the judge quashed that, but gave everything else to the prosecutor.
Hmm. Now, how do you think that this stuff ties together with the Anthony shots? What's your opinion with that? Do you think that this is? Well, let me ask you this: Do you think Richard Allen did this by himself?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Honestly, I mean, honestly, me and you talked about this a couple days ago. I threw some
Mm-hmm.
ideas at you,
Mm-hmm.
like the fantasy kill, and people were asking me, well, what's a fantasy kill? Well, I used to watch a lot of interrogations with people that committed murders, and they'll ask the prisoner, well, why'd you kill him? I just wanted to experience killing somebody. That's a fantasy kill. They've had the thought, well, damn, what would it be like just to kill somebody and get the feel for it and see what it's like? That's a fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Most of them are,
But
though, except for passion killings, and that's usually by family. Where you just get so pissed off. But
right,
now, do you think that? I guess unmasked. I think he was drinking every day, as was Richard Allen, from what I understand. Yeah, this is a tough one, man. I'm telling you, it's a tough one. I can't rule out Ron Logan just because he
I
doesn't have an alibi.
well, I can't
You
rule
know.
him out either, just because of the 209 call, text, whatever it is, and even the ones at night. That night,
Hmm.
there's just something suspicious about the whole thing. I mean, he was
Right.
there when the murders took place. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Now, do you think the Kleins knew Ron Logan or Richard Allen? No, Ron Logan. Ron Logan.
I'm I have a pretty high confidence that at least Tony knew who Ron Logan was, because if you go back and listen to the interviews with either Bart, the stepson, or the daughter, or whatever it is, he admitted that Tony used to take him over there to go fishing.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 That Ron Logan thing, Charlie. I mean, it just gets me. The only facts that we have is that he left that dump, that whatever they call it in
Transfer station.
transfer station. We call it a dump here, but um, he left there around noontime, right? Which would have put him home around 12:10 if he went straight home. And then we have a receipt from the fish store at 5:20 or 5:24, something to that effect. Okay, so it takes, how long does it take to drive from Ron's house to Lafayette, you think?
20, 25 minutes.
Okay, so even if it's 30,
Right.
we're at 5 minutes to five, and he was in there for an hour, 30 minutes to an hour. So even say an hour, right? So we get 5:24, and then we take an hour off of that. It's 4:24. Take a half hour after that. It's 5 minutes to four. So what was he doing between noontime and 5 minutes to
Exactly.
four?
Exactly.
Now somebody said that he was somewhere having pizza and beer, but when? And I don't even know if that's true or not. Just looking at it from the outside, and with this whole case, I really don't have a dog in the fight. I'm just trying to even things out and say, okay, well, where's the evidence lead us? And law enforcement is keeping most of it tight to the hip, which I don't blame them. They should,
The
especially in a
major
case like that.
problem, I think the major problem, the hiccup in this case is trying to put an actual connection between Richard Allen and the Kleins. I think that's where the hiccup's at.
Okay. Now, do you think they have a connection through um, mutual friends, or do they hang around at the same places? I know they both used to go to Logansport a lot.
I know that Richard Allen's wife used to live in Peru. We know that Richard Allen used to live in Mexico, Indiana, which is just a little town right outside of Peru. But do we have any evidence that puts them together,
Hmm.
hanging out, drinking, or whatever it might be?
I think we would know that by now.
Right.
But I mean, that doesn't mean we can't still look at that. Now, what would that bring us? Say that Richard Allen, Tony Klein, and Ron Logan all knew each other. What does that do for us, though?
Nothing until we can prove it.
Right, but say we could prove it. Say we could say they all knew each other. Um, I mean, what does that do to the case?
I don't think it really does anything to the case at that point unless you can actually put a timeline together where they were either speaking with each other on the phone a day, 2 days prior, or the day of the girl's disappearance, or unless there was communication between the three on the 14th, or there was communication from the 13th to the 25th when the house was raided. You got to
Mm,
find some type of connection with communication somewhere, like
mm.
through the cell phones, through the Emily Ann accounts, or whatever other accounts they were using, the fake uh, usernames, emails, or whatever they were using. We've got to find a connection somewhere in that area.
Hello, Miss Haunted Paula. Now, any of you guys that are local to that area or semi-local and stuff, Steve and I are going to be there for a week. So if you want to reach out to me on my email and stuff like that, I'd love to meet some of you guys, get together, have a coffee or a beer or whatever. We've got some stuff to do, but I'm sure we'll have some downtime. I'd like to talk to some of you guys anyways. Four Pits, I don't know if you're going to be in that area. I know you travel around a lot. But I definitely love to see some of you guys. I want to go to Peru, Delphi, that whole area.
You can go over there and mess with Tony.
I'll knock on his door. I don't have a problem with that. I don't know the guy. I don't know anything about the guy. Now people have a lot to say about Derek German because he won't talk. I think he's smart, and the same with Tony. I think he's smart. Why talk if you don't have to? Do you know what I mean? It
I mean, just reading through the transcripts with Keegan, he wasn't no dummy. That was blatantly obvious if you read the transcript carefully and listen to what Keegan's saying. He's like, "Look, man, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to manipulate me and trying to twist my words." He's paying attention to every word that is being said to him by these detectives, and he's like, "You guys aren't going to get me to slip up." Basically, is
right,
what he was telling.
right. Now, Kristen wants to know why is the defense not wanting that out after they dropped the mental illness stuff? Here's the thing,
Me.
Kristen, that he may have been evaluated before he had representation. Because
Yep,
remember, at first he said he would
exactly.
represent himself. So
Yep.
they, of course, they want to be there during this evaluation, all that. They want to have as much control as possible. He's got some great lawyers, and they're doing some great lawyering for him. He's a piece of shit, doesn't deserve it, but I guess we all do. We all.
Oh, LA's in the chat.
Oh boy, I thought I smelled shit. I just went like, I was like, damn, I smell shit. And then right as soon as I said it to myself, what up, Fibro? I'm going to LA's channel after this at 8 o'clock tonight. Yeah, WL. I don't think anybody can absolutely positively rule out
Ron
Ron
Logan.
Logan 100%. That does not mean I think he did it or he participated in it. I'm just curious as to why he wanted to create that alibi. And I don't buy the, oh, because he was driving. You know, when he got a ride back from his interview, he told the cop, no, you can't search because my house is a mess. And then he said, well, between us, I have guns in the house. That's a lot worse than driving without a license, you know?
At
See you,
least the dude
Thomas.
was he was being honest about it. And if he didn't tell the truth about it the first time, and they did the search warrant anyway, and they found the guns, he was still going to jail for violation of probation.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt. And that's a whole different charge, guys. If you drive while your license suspended or revoked, and if you're on probation for that, that's not another charge of driving while license suspended or revoked. That is a whole different charge. That's a violation of probation. Whole separate
Mm-hmm.
charge. Hey, Jojo. Yeah. Well, there's a whole
Yep.
bunch of shit that doesn't make sense to me. Why didn't they find the girls that night? Right? What's the actual timeline? It's been all over the place. If we go by the PC, a lot of people think the PC is sloppy. I agree, it is sloppy. The muddy bloody witness. That's another thing.
I
If
don't that shit right there. I don't buy it. I mean, I'm having a hard time believing that because the dumbest criminals in the world would not commit a double murder and then just walk up a country road knowing people drive up and down that. Who would do that?
yeah. Well, I mean, when your adrenaline's pumping and stuff, Humanimal said that the pizza and beer thing was 2 weeks later that gets muddled up by people. Okay, so there, what was he doing between noontime and almost 4 o'clock then?
Right.
Do you follow me?
Hmm.
And the reason why he could have just said that, hey, I drove to wherever. Oh, we got a super chat from Jerry. What up, Jerry?
Nope. Here come the money.
And
Here comes the
Jerry, and
money.
Jerry, we are not talking about the Celtics today at all.
Oh man, I can't believe that, dude. Oh
Yeah.
shit. Wait a second, my camera just fell. Uh-oh.
All right, we got a super chat from Mayo. Great work, gentlemen. Thank you, Mayo. You're awesome, brother. I'll see you in a little bit over on LA's. The Kleins and Allens hung out together at Hangar 18, now known as Nickel Plate Saloon. Do you know where the Nickel Plate Saloon is, Frank? Once you get straightened out there, I
Nope.
think Blaze got him.
No, he's over here barking at my neighbor.
Oh, okay.
Lexi. I'm gonna get the camera off.
TK and RA would have played JV football against each other in school. Oh, so they went to different high schools then. Yeah, hi, Frank.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm here.
You froze up. That's why.
No, it's making me sign in. Why is it making me?
But that's okay. If you got to go out and come back in, I'll put you the link back up. No worries. Thomas Frost, super chat. Thank you, Thomas. You're the bomb. $1.99. Keep up the great work, guys. I'll be in touch. All right, Thomas. Don't work too hard, brother. Doc5, Richard Allen shot pool there. Kathy and Tony like the same posts on the Facebook group. I just find it hard to believe that in a small area like that people don't at least know who each other is. I find it hard to believe that, yeah, Kegan was named after a bar in Logansport, right? Kegan Stein. Wasn't that in Logansport? Kill a pedo, go to heaven. Yeah, there's a special place in hell for them fucking assholes. All right, see if I can fuck this one up. Toddlejag 1. Just want the right guys to pay the price for these horrific crimes against the girls. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, law enforcement is absolutely positive. They're very confident that Richard Allen is the bridge guy. They're confident of that. I think, deja vu, I think Tony is in the hospital. He has diabetes, and I think he had to have some of his extremities removed from his foot or feet, which sucks. He's not that old. I think he's younger than I am. Allen doesn't fit the psych profile. You might be right, Chemo. Then what was he doing there? And we all know this whole thing sucks. This whole thing stinks. If his plan was to kidnap them girls at the south end of the bridge and then walk them all the way back to the CPS building, he gets what he deserves. That's why I say there's more people involved. Yeah, I need a tour guide for Peru. Do you know the Peru area, Frank? You're muted, brother. Some reason I couldn't hear you. That microphone. Oh, there we go. It's working now. Blades, when he gets it, don't he?
That died, guys. You hear me?
Okay, so he's going into a rehab facility, it looks like. Tony is.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my headset died.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's tough when you don't know. Oh, there we are. I'm finally getting to L.A. What up, brother? When you don't know the truth and you don't know what happened, we're all speculating. I think more than one person's involved. I think that Richard Allen is definitely the bridge guy. And I think that Kegan Allen is definitely involved. I mean, Kegan Allen. Kegan Klein is definitely involved because he created the Anthony Shots account. Now, to me, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely fuck around and find out. Never talks to the cops, ever. And everybody, how many people we got in here? 234. If you ever get pulled over for a DUI, do not do field sobriety test. That is not a pass or fail test. That test has one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to gather evidence against you to be used in a court of law. So refuse. Don't do sobriety test. Never once has anybody ever passed the sobriety test and sent along a happy way. So they don't make you perform those unless they are suspicious that you are under the influence. And there we go. There he is. Shut up, idiot. Oh, he got me, huh? I told him I smell shit, and he shows up. Oh, shut up, idiot. Good comeback. Fucking idiot. You're stupid, LA. I get so far behind on this chat, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm reading this. This is Alice's. I pity the medical staff that have to take care of TK. Well, he's all about his women. We know that. If you go to his Facebook, it's all you see is him with these women, pictures with a lot of women.
Now, I don't know anything about TK. You
He's
know,
into sprint car racing and NASCAR and all that stuff.
No, but I mean, personally, I can't draw a conclusion on his personality or anything like that. You can't go by everything you hear. You know that.
Right.
So it's hard to say. I can't speak against him. I can't speak for him. But just the fact that law enforcement was really grilling his son about him makes it suspicious to me.
Mm-hmm.
And why hasn't he been arrested yet?
I've already made that point earlier. They don't have no concrete evidence that he is involved with CSAM or anything. They suspect, but they don't have anything they can use against him. Like I said, if he was using Keegan's phones or his devices, they can't prove he was because those devices are all Keegan stuff.
Now, if law enforcement sat Kegan down right now and he said, yes, my dad did it, my dad did all that shit, what are you going to do with that information?
Nothing. You can't.
Right. Now, it would take also Richard Allen to corroborate that.
Mm-hmm.
The time he gave the pleas doesn't cover the entire abduction and murder. He was involved. Why did he make his fake alibi cover all of it? I don't know, Ivy. And like I said, I'm not saying that he is involved. I'm saying that he was acting very guilty. When you're looking for an alibi to cover the time during a crime was committed, before anybody even knew a crime was committed, we call that a clue in the business. That's shady as fuck. Shady as fuck. But I'm not, I'm not trying to connect him to anything. I'm just saying I can't rule him out that he didn't know anything. Maybe he saw the bodies, like TTM Fangirl just said. Maybe he looked down the hill and he saw something.
Let
And
me answer a question. At Venue 3, the Memorial Walk is July 1st. That's a Saturday. It's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
yeah, feel free to jump in whenever you want, Frank. I want to hear. Yeah, I've been running my damn mouth this whole time. I want to hear your
Hey,
opinion.
I'm just listening to you, and when you ask my opinion, I'm giving it.
They didn't have a heat-seeking drone, TTM Fangirl. And that whole thing is shady, too. I reached out to that guy, Mike something, because I have a drone. I'm not going to call myself a drone operator, like I don't call myself a YouTube creator. I fly a drone and I do YouTube. But there's a difference between heat-seeking, which is thermal, and
Mm-hmm.
infrared. Thermal cameras are very, very expensive. Infrared are not too bad. So I think he had infrared cameras, and he forgot to turn. Now, this is the person that does this for a living. Keep that in mind. Does it for a living. He forgot to turn the recorder on. That's his story, and he's sticking to it. But with
No, I was
infrared, he would have been able to see the girls with infrared, but he would see
right.
everybody else too.
And see, that's what just kills me because the family said the night that they had the major search, it looked like fireflies out all over the place in that area.
Hmm.
And if that's the case, somebody would have seen them girls on Ron Logan's property. So if nobody's seen them, that tells me that nobody was actually in that area where the girls were found searching.
Hmm. Leah, I agree with you. I don't think any of those woods are big enough to be hunting. Uh, Actually, not even with a bow and arrow, but they definitely hunt there.
Yes, they do.
There's tree stands and all that stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where the hell the deer live in there. It's not that big, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Noe, am I allowed to talk about anything that you and I discussed? Shoot me a text, Noe, and let me know. Because I still have not. I've let you do your own thing. And guess we all can say RL is not BG. I don't think he's BG either. Some
I don't
people
either.
do think he's BG.
I know.
But law enforcement, and everybody knows I'm a law enforcement asshole, they're pretty confident. They're finished with the Richard Allen investigation. They were done with that investigation before they put their hands on him. They just needed the proof.
Yep.
You know, they know who these
Exactly.
players are. They just don't know who they are. I don't know if you understand that. They know that there's other people involved or not. Unless the drone logs its location, it's impossible to know for sure. Yeah, I reached out to the guy. I don't think he's under the gag order. I reached out to him through Facebook. His name's Michael something. Yeah, well, Stargirl, you have to keep in mind, too, that they have 43 seconds of video. And whoever bridge guy was, whoever he was walking towards them. So the closer he got, the more clear a look you got at him. But obviously, it wasn't clear enough for law enforcement to go arrest this fuck ass right
Right.
away.
Right.
But, I mean, you just have to take it for what it is. You know?
There's a lot of stuff that has to be deciphered and to completely get a grasp on what's actually going on here.
Hmm.
And everybody's just still behind the eight ball because we don't know exactly. We don't know. I mean, all this stuff that Doug Carter and ISP is doing could be all theatrical,
Hmm.
as far as we're concerned, with the press conferences and the things they're saying that Doug Carter's saying,
Sure.
his cryptic messages that he's putting out there. It's all theatrical to me.
Yeah, they use the media. But Jenny DeWitt, if 300 is not a very big road, it's barely 2 cars wide. You don't drive fast through there, that's for sure. Just from what I've seen. I'm going to go walk it
And
when I
you
go
know what's
there.
so funny about 300? The speed limit's like 45 or 50 or something like that.
Really?
Yeah,
You think it would be 35 through there.
it's not.
But it's if somebody was driving by. Yeah, James, I'm going to Kokomo as well, so I'll look you up. Shoot me an email, and I'll email you my cell phone number. You can call me or text me or whatever. I don't bite. I don't dox anybody. I don't fuck with anybody. The only person I've ever gotten an argument it was with Meow, and I apologized after that. I said some mean things to her that I shouldn't have, but that was all L.A.'s fault. L.A. started it. But at
Oh,
least
here
we're,
we
we're
go
back on talking.
with the blame game. It sounds like Keegan, the blame game.
With what?
What
This one?
you no, what you were just talking about.
Oh, blame it on L.A.
Yeah.
I'm being a prick. That's my fault. He can't control what comes out of my mouth. I'm just fucking with L.A. is all I'm doing there. I'm a grown ass man. I do what I want. Ivy said she passed the field sobriety test. Oh, you're lucky. You're
Well, yeah,
lucky.
I see. When I was married to my second wife, we went to a house party, and the house party was a friend of ours, and he was a cop. Well, we left about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was riding through the town and heading out to the main thoroughfare to get back home. Why I had flipped a cigarette out the window, right?
Hmm.
And this Fortville cop was sitting on the opposite side of the road of direction that I was going, and he's seeing it. And he, man, as soon as I passed him, I was like, "Fuck!"
Mm.
And then the next thing you know, here he comes flipping around and flipped the cherries on and pulled me over. He gave me a sobriety test, and I passed it. And then he wants to give me a breathalyzer, and I blew a .02, and he said, "God damn, this is your lucky day."
It's not your lucky
And let
day.
me
You
go.
weren't over the limit. That's not lucky.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's when I was a drinker back then, back in the mid 2000s.
Yeah. Unmasked truth. But now, what do you think, Frank? Before I give her what I want to tell her, what do you think? There's drugs involved with this whole thing, meth and all that?
Well,
Because
you got to remember, drugs, porn, sex trafficking are all intertwined together.
alcohol.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when it comes to Garrett Kurtz, a little suspicious to me, like we've all heard over the years through his Open Secrets. He said, his Open Secrets interview, he said, "Hell, I don't know what the hell I was doing that day. I was so effed up on this and that." He
Mm.
said, "I don't even know where I was at." But he said, "But I do know for a fact I didn't kill two girls." Well, how do you know that when you just said you don't even know what you were doing that day?
Yeah, he's trying to
What
get a
were you?
ride to work or something like that too. I unmasked
Well, I'm
truth.
just
What I
like,
wanted to say to you about this: if you go over to the prof, he is big on Kurtz and the meth side of it. I am not, to be honest with you. I am not, but he is, and he does lives almost every day. So if you check him
but you
out,
all, but you also got to remember, Garrett Kurtz admitted he was questioned by LE supposedly because he was catfishing a 14-year-old girl.
hmm. Yeah, human.
So
I agree 100%, and that's my problem. Is they're in the same house, and law enforcement saying that those things were logged on at the same time. You know, so until they get and here's why I was saying, if Keegan said tomorrow, fuck this, I'm mad at my dad. Yeah, it was him. It was him. At
right,
least involve him with the CSAM. They still can't do it. A, because he's a liar. He's a proven liar. And B, they can't prove it. They know that both of those items, both devices were used at the same IP address in his house at the same time. But Kegan, with his own mouth, said, "Yeah, sometimes I turn two on at the same time." So,
he would log into one and log out from the other.
right, right. But all kinds of theories. I like to go around and listen to everybody and watch the chat in particular. Because I'm here to tell you, man, when I learn something new, if something comes along that's factual, I go all the way back to the beginning again, Frank, and start all over and
See, that's what
put
me and
shit
Randy
together.
did last year. Me and Randy did that. We started from day one with photos, statements, the whole works.
Yeah. Well, deja vu. It may not be a nursing home. He may be going to a rehab center. People confuse those stuff a lot. Prison Mike. God, I've seen you in a little bit. How you doing, brother?
What did he say? I didn't see what he said.
Frank Meister.
No,
Were
I
you on
wasn't.
Flying Frank back in the day, or was that a different person?
Nope, that wasn't me.
Penguin Ruckus. Penguin used to be my safe word. It still is. No Chaser, what up?
You see what four pit bulls said.
Nah, I ain't got to it yet. I can imagine. I
He
can
says
imagine.
that at minimum, Ron Lugan knew Richard Allen from the liquor store aisle at CVS.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, Unmasked, if there's a few different channels. And the reason I'm saying that is I don't even consider that theory. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that I don't consider it. I don't think it was a meth deal gone bad or anything like that. So I don't know much about that theory. But I know that Prof does. Even though he's not talking to me anymore.
Well, you know what I did with that situation, and you know why.
Well, I have to give him this. I'm an asshole. So,
And you know what? I'm proud to be an asshole because we all have one.
yeah, well, you just got to do what you got to do every day. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Say what you mean and mean what you say, and you'll be able to sleep at night. Be rad. What up? What up, player? Now, B Rad's here, and No Chasers here, and
And
Mayo's here.
speaking of the prof, he's live right now too.
Now, see, he was going live late at night.
Because he was basically like a lot of us try to do, not to step on any of the other creators' toes.
Mm-hmm. To be
But
honest
looks
with
like
you, I thought he
everybody's.
was going late at night to get rid of the trolls. He had a troll problem. You know what I mean? But I mean, that's his channel. I got no problem with any of that. I do my own thing. I can't
Hey,
give
yo,
anybody
yo.
advice.
Hey, yo, yo. I've had this voice since I was 13 years old.
Yeah, you got a
People would
deep ass
call
voice.
people would call the house and be like, Ed, which was my biological dad's name. And I'm like, no, this is Shane.
Yeah, Prison Mike, no, they don't use it to annoy the public. No, they don't. Law enforcement does use the media. That's why they have, it's not just a public information officer, they have an office. They have people that are watching all these, guarantee you.
I think Ivy Rose, the only person that was interviewed from the search was Mr. Williams, Eric Williams. I haven't
That's
heard from anybody else.
that's my buddy. He just texted me the other day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man. He's a real good dude. Yeah, I've heard someone diverted searches from the area the girls were located on the 13th. Now, speaking of Eric Williams, I've spoken to Eric many times, and he got close. If he'd have gone, he was on the north side. Um, he would have had to go in the water because it was so steep. And he said, if I had gone in the water and gone around that corner, whoa, pineapple.
Oh no, here we go.
I just caught that. I went right by it and had to go back.
Here we go.
But he didn't say that anybody like stood in front of him and said, hey, go back. We've already searched this area. He said what they did was they come over and said, hey, Ellie's calling it off, calling the search office too dangerous. So that's why they all stopped. I don't think there was somebody at the bridge. He came from the south side. Okay, Eric Williams went to help his buddy, who is Liberty's uncle. And he picked him up, and they went there, and they got over by the Mears drop-off point, and everybody was gathered around there, and they're just walking around in the woods there. So these two, at least they were smart. They got in the truck, and they drove around the south side down to 200. And they walked up the old railroad track, where the tracks used to be. It's all wooded
Yep.
and stuff like
Yep.
that.
In between the Weber and the neighbor's house.
Yeah,
You can still see the impression of where the tracks used to be.
yeah.
If you get to the south, then you can still see the impression.
And remind me, Frank, to get to the dogs, because Deb just reminded me something. But I just want to finish this point first. So he went down. If you're looking at the map, okay, with 300 is in the north, 200 is in the south, and they're running parallel. He went up that path. It's not a path. It's not maintained or anything, but where the old railroad tracks used to be. And then he went kind of to the right of the Weber property. There's like a little ravine there, and he went down by the water. That is where he saw the ATV tracks. He said to this day, he can see those tracks. They were brand new tires, and they were shaped like arrows. And and they were like going up the slope towards the Weber property. And he said, if I had gone up there, I could have told law enforcement that, yeah, this is the ATV that did it. He said, but you could tell they used that area to get down by the river. And that's where he saw the bones and stuff like that. He said it didn't look like a satan. He was pissed off when they first talked to him. It didn't look like a satanic site, and there wasn't all kinds of shit set up and all that.
V3 just corrected me. I was off about 5 miles on the speed limit on 300. It's 55.
Okay, 55, man.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
when
you
he,
come out, you go to old rural areas here in Indiana, out in old farmlands, it's usually about 50, 55 miles an hour.
now when he went back around and up, I just saw that comment by Four Pits from the liquor aisle. When he went back up and around, he got to the bridge. Libby's uncle said, yeah, fuck this, I'm not going to cross that bridge. And there was a guy standing there, at least one. Okay, I didn't elaborate with him, but he says it's one. I'm going to be there on the 11th of July until the 18th of July, phony. And the guy said, you know, you can't cross the bridge. And knowing Eric, I believe him, he said, oh, what, are you going to stop me? And but Libby's uncle said, fuck this. He walked back to the truck. He drove around. Eric said by the time he got across the bridge, Libby's uncle had the truck on the trail right up to the north side of the bridge. I didn't know vehicles could go in there that far. But obviously they can. I mean, why would he lie about that? And that's when they went to the right. As he went across the bridge to the north, they turned to the right and went down that way. Okay, now the dogs. Tobe calling off the dogs. That was a mistake. Okay,
Big mistake.
That was a mistake. That said, that area, all the scent evidence was I'm not going to say it was gone, but you've got all these people in there. Those dogs are going to have a hard time picking up that scent.
And you know what really bothers me about that whole thing is that there was mention of possibly the girls were just over at a friend's house and the phone died. Why speculate that? We don't. I mean, the girls could have went down one of the hills and fell and knocked themselves out, and you know.
Yeah, but then the other one could go get help.
Right.
You know. No, he's just answering my question in chat, and he literally just texted me just now, so he's not paying any more attention than I am. But see, I'm glad that I didn't say anything. I'm not going to say what him and I talked about unless he says it's okay. And I haven't heard him talk about it, so I'm certainly not going to. That's the nice thing about finding people that know things, and you promise not to tell anybody, and then you don't. You get that reputation of that because I won't do that to anybody. I never have.
All right, guys, we got 236 in the chat, 138 likes. I need people to hit that thumbs up.
Ivy, if you look at the two interviews I did with Eric Williams, they are mapped out. I do have it mapped out exactly where he went.
And see, that's the trail that everybody takes from the north end to get to the crime scene. Is that mapped out, that little trail that you mapped out where Eric said he took? That trail from the north end? That's where everybody takes to get to the crime scene.
Yeah, you don't go across the bridge. You go before the bridge. You turn left, right?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Or you go to the cemetery.
If you're walking up to the north end of the bridge, about maybe 15 yards before you get to the actual edge of the bridge, there's a little path that cuts off into the woods. You can take it around, and it goes over the Mears property to the property line on the Ron Logan's property.
Yeah.
Cross over the ravine. That goes straight up to the cemetery.
Yeah, Ivy, I am as well. But I mean, what could they have to offer outside of where they searched? You know. Now, the people that found the girls, some were on foot, some were on ATVs. So now, from what I understand, I'm going to see when I go there because I can't comprehend them not seeing the girls or finding the girls. Doesn't seem to be a big area to me, but I guess they were in a little swale area, an indent. You've been there, Frank. Would it be hard to
Hmm.
see from a distance?
What's that?
The girls?
From the north end of the bridge, yes. Because
Oh,
of the fact is that they were allegedly 50 feet off the bank up against trees or whatever. You're not
hmm.
going to see that from the north end of the bridge.
Okay. Now, what
But
if you're walking in the woods?
if you walk that trail and cross the property line
Hmm.
onto Ron Logan's property, and
Hmm.
if you look toward the banks, you should be able to see them.
Okay.
You should have been able to see them.
And it was
And
fall. There was no foliage, right?
well, it was actually in February where there's no foliage. And another thing is, if people were on the Weber private drive,
Hmm.
you would have been and walked up toward their house and looked down to where the crime scene was. Somebody would have had to have seen them
Have a good night,
laying
Jenny.
there. And that's another thing we don't understand: how nobody saw them from on the private drive.
Yeah. Now, do you think there's more than one person involved, or do you think Richard Allen did it by himself? And before you answer, I'll tell you what my thoughts are on that for both ways. If the muddy, bloody witness is for real, okay, then it could be a lone wolf. Because if other
Hmm.
people involved, why the hell is he walking up 300 by himself, all muddy and bloody?
Right.
Right. So it could be a lone wolf. It could be any number of things to make that happen. You know, maybe they got split up or whatever during confusion or whatever. It's it's a high stress event for everybody involved. But what do you think? Do you think it's a lone wolf, or do you think that there's more people involved? I think there's more people involved.
I believe there's more people involved, but there's also the possibility of being a lone wolf.
Yeah,
One of the
especially if
two.
that muddy, bloody witness is correct. And
Right.
300 is not that wide.
And see, now I was going back and looking at stuff. I mean, I am almost to the point where I don't believe that Libby was targeted, and I'll tell you why. Everybody knows that Libby was a spunky 14-year-old teenage girl.
Hmm.
Okay, she seemed like the type of teenage girl that wouldn't take shit from nobody, and she put up a fight, and that's why she allegedly sustained the worst injuries than what Abby allegedly had.
Yeah, took the brunt of it.
Yes,
Now, to me,
exactly.
that's all speculation too. Because
Hmm.
I don't like Ivy, not as a person or anything like that. I don't like the way he stepped down and then talked about the crime scene. I'm sure law enforcement isn't happy with him either for doing that. But he said that there was no sign of a struggle.
I don't believe
So
that. I don't believe that at all.
why would he say that? You know
I
what I
just
mean?
don't believe that.
Yeah, you should ask him that. I mean, you've
Yeah,
recently
well,
been in.
he was willing to answer questions, and then when I started asking him the tough questions, he kept saying no comment.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's under a gag order.
All
That's what
right.
it seemed to me.
And
Another super sticker.
super sticker, rescue all the dogs, 4.99. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Every little bit helps. Got to get my fat ass to Indiana.
Yeah, it does make me think that he possibly could be under the gag order since he
Mm,
was the original prosecutor in the case.
right. But if you were driving, you've been over there. If you were driving on 300 and somebody's walking on the side of the road, um, oh, thank you, man. You'd be able to get a good look at him.
It's hard to say driving 55 mile an hour, though.
Hmm. Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
do you think they're driving 55? I drive like an old lady. I drive my wife nuts.
well, the times that I've been out there, who I rode with, we drove 55. We did the speed limit.
Mm, mm. I think it was after some top people and trying to get on to them. TK and KK are little people. KK is scared to talk. TK and KK are between a rock and a hard place. Disgusting pigs. Uh, you know what, Brenda? Whoever's involved with this is disgusting, and I hope we
Hmm.
get some kind of closure to this.
More money, more money.
More money, more money, more money. That was from. I'm gonna scroll back up. Went right by it. That is from Kingdom Minded. Thank you, Kingdom Minded. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You're awesome. It's good to see you. Thanks for coming in here. She's over from LA group. Lost Key guy was down at the bottom of the cemetery. Oh, you talking about Pat Brown? That guy too gives me the shiver me timbers.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So I don't. You know. I wish I could talk to all these. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Frank. Between you and Deb, you guys bring the goods, man.
Somebody had the wrong numbers on. I seen it in the chat earlier. That's why she just put that up there. Somebody was given a
Yeah,
completely different number on the appraisal.
yeah. She sent it to me, and yeah,
Me and
Lone
her have
Pony.
had several discussions on that when it came to the appraisal.
Mm. Now, Lone Pony, that whole marathon gas station thing, right? I agree with you. It's a crock of shit.
Hey,
But
Amy.
that said, what's going on, Amy? That said, 1111, what up? Helicopter footage. They zoom in a circular disturbed out in front of a big barn that looked reddish to me. But that said, just because Kegan Googled how to get to that marathon doesn't mean that they were meeting at the marathon either. It could be Richard Allen could say, listen, there's a marathon gas station, and right up the street from it is a place that we can park and meet or whatever. It doesn't mean it was actually at the marathon gas station. I don't put
You
a
got
whole
to
bunch of
remember,
weight.
Riley Park's right there by the marathon station too.
Mm. If Ron was involved, why would he let BG walk away bloody? Yeah, see, too. I don't know. I'm not saying Ron's involved. I'm just saying I can't clear him that he doesn't at least know something. None of it makes sense. If Ron Logan was involved, why didn't he clean up at Ron Logan's house? Why didn't Ron Logan give him a ride to his vehicle? Why did he park there in the first goddamn place? You know, was the plan to bring the girls to that CPS building? That was abandoned. To me, this is an abduction gone wrong. That's my theory.
That
I look at everything, I talk about everything, but my opinion is it's an abduction gone wrong. There are more people involved. The Kleins at least know more than what they're saying. And Ron Logan, I believe, knows more.
I think Keegan told Nick McClellan everything he knew about Delphi, and that Nick could clarify anything that Keegan told him.
Tobe's butt is fake. Dude, I'll tell you, Meow did a whole video, a whole short on Tobe's ass. Did you see that?
No.
It's just zoomed in on his ass in
Yeah.
uniform at some, I think it was at the commissioner's office. I can't, I don't see how that has an impact. Hey, V. Marie, I hope you're feeling better. I don't see how that
Well,
has any impact on the case. But hey, it gets clicks. If that's your thing, you get the clicks. But there's some people, and I know you agree with this, Frank. There are real YouTube creators, man. They make great videos. They're like professional
oh
videos, man. I'm
yeah.
jealous as hell, man. I'm very envious of some of these people's skills. This is what I do. I get on here and run my mouth. But you know what? They say you're crazy. I can't do that. You have skills. So,
Yeah. See, that's with me. I've got the research skills and all that, and the phone skills and all that. But when it comes to all this technology, it's way beyond me now.
mm.
Let the kids deal with that.
Yeah, Ivy. I asked Eric, but he was on the other side. He was on the south side, so he doesn't know where most of them searched. Um, you have to remember they didn't know that there was anything wrong yet. You know, the prosecutor alluded to more actors. Ruckus, what would that word mean? That there are more people involved. To me, and I believe there
Yep.
are more people involved.
I heard it firsthand with my own ears. I was sitting in the second row in the gallery when he said that.
Oh,
I was
that's
like,
right.
"What? What?"
Yeah, dude, you were at some of this stuff. That's
I
cool,
went to the arrest presser. I went to the PCA hearing.
dude. If I can swing it, I'm gonna go back for one of these court things.
And then
I'm
you see they cancel the bond hearing. Why did you cancel the bond hearing?
because he's guilty.
They know it too. They
Yeah.
know it.
Now
They
they're trying
know
to
it.
they're switching it to a suppression hearing. I don't care what they try to suppress. Like I said, law enforcement is done with Richard Allen. They already turned it over to the DA. Prosecutor already has it. All right, let's see. We've gone an hour and 45 minutes. That's about my max.
Yeah.
I'm going to start winding it down. Um, I want to get a little bit more prepared and do a second one, at least the second one on Kegan. There's more stuff that I want to talk about with him and his dad. So just things that law enforcement has triggered in me. So that's why I want to make sure. Amy, what's up? Uh-oh.
Another one.
From Miranda. She gave me $4.99 for the cool hat this time. Thank you. Thank you very much. I actually got this hat in England when I was stationed. I've had this hat 30,
Jeez, Lord, dude.
36 years, 37 years.
Have you watched it yet?
Yeah, I dry clean it. You can't just wash these things. You'll tear them all up. Hey, Todd. Clearly appears that BG is wearing headphones. I don't see that. A very
I
large
don't
earphone
either.
with a metallic finish on his right ear. I don't see that. It also might have a mic. I don't see that. Does not mean that none of that is true, Todd. I just don't see that. Now, if you can convince me of that, if you have something that shows me that, I've looked at a bunch of video of BG and I just don't see that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I don't see it. But all right, guys, we're going to wind this down. Abduction for both. They were together. They were trying to get them both together, which is stupid. Here's another thing, too. They charged him with kidnapping, guys. Why would law enforcement charge him with kidnapping if his deal wasn't to kidnap him? They know. They know. Money for the Brazilian butt lift. Oh, he got the BBL. That's
I I think that McClellan's got the smoking gun and he's holding on to it.
We get another $4.99 super sticker. Thank you very much, Gladys. Now, they charged him with kidnapping, right? Now, how the hell do you get two girls from the south end of the bridge all the way to your car, and then how do you control them even in the vehicle to drive without help?
That's why I don't believe there was a vehicle on the private drive.
Yeah, I think what's going to be shocking is the motive. I think that's what's going to be shocking to us.
I think the only vehicle that we know of when it comes to this is allegedly Brad Weber, however you pronounce his name, was driving up the private drive around 3 o'clock. That's the only vehicle that we've heard even close to the scene at that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Alice, you can come along. You can come along. I'll knock on his door. You just don't know me. I'll go say hello. I have no bad intentions. You know, there's a couple folks I'd like to reach out to. Maybe he'll reach out to me. Thank you, Wanda.
Don't expect that to happen. He's trying to separate himself as much as he can
Yeah,
from
but
his state.
I'm not a threat.
Well, he doesn't know that.
Yeah. Well. Oh, and got a super sticker from Alice. Thank you very much, Alice. I love that money drop thing. That is hilarious.
Hey, James, I understand what you're saying. And McClellan can't hold any evidence. He's still holding evidence. Why do you think this last filing by the defense for notice of discovery? Because they know that he's holding something back.
He has to turn everything over, though, even if it's exculpatory. Even if it proves that he didn't do it, they have to turn it over, and they already have.
They've got, yeah.
They're just playing games.
Another one.
Got a super sticker from Alice, $2.99. Thank you very much, Alice. You're the bomb.com. I think people just want to see that money drop. They feel like they're at a strip joint. Thank you, Alice. Every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. I mean, I'm spending my own money on it, but I'm trying to offset that. It's not really fair to my wife. To me, this is fun stuff. I'm going to be running around all over the place with Mr. Steve. We're going to be doing all kinds of stuff. We've got something planned for that week that's going to be really cool. It's going to be some good content. But all right, guys, I will catch you later. Frank, as always, thank you. Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
for coming on,
Thank
man.
you.
And I'll let you know once I
Anytime,
get
man.
this stuff set up for another one, and we'll do one on your channel as well. I'll get all
Yep.
the information lined up for you.
All right, let's do that.
All
Thanks
right,
everybody for
guys.
coming out. Thanks for all the donations to Ruckus so he can make this trip, and I appreciate whoever the person that donated the Cash App money to me. Thank you. Every little bit helps. So till next time, Ruckus, I'm out of here. Peace
Don't
out.
take
One
any
love,
wooden
guys.
nickels. Don't take any wooden nickels, everybody.
All right. Good night, guys.
My name is Ruckus. Thanks for hanging out. Please like, subscribe, and share. I'm 10-7.